In Revenge of the Sith, Padme meets with Anakin on Mustafar. His rage gets the better of him, resulting in him choking his wife unconscious. This leads to the intense duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan, which leaves Vader a shadow of the man he once was. But what if Padme killed Anakin? Let's start when Padme arrives on Mustafar. She rushes off her ship and hugs her husband tightly. She tells him how she's worried about him, how Obi-Wan said he's done some terrible things. But she doesn't believe it. She can't believe it. Her husband would never do that. She looks up at her husband, waiting for him to deny what Obi-Wan says he's done. But he doesn't. He simply smiles and laughs, proclaims he's become the most powerful Jedi ever, and wants to rule the galaxy with her by his side. Padme can't believe what she's hearing. This isn't her husband. What happened to Anakin? She pleads with him to run away with her whilst they still can, and raise the family they've always dreamed about. But Anakin refuses. Padme's heart is broken. She can't take this. How could Anakin do this to her? Their children. Her husband is gone. She can see it. Consumed by darkness. The man, Anakin Skywalker, is no more. She doesn't recognize the dark and disfigured person in front of her. Anakin would never do what this man has done and plans to do, and she must stop it. Whilst Anakin is distracted, gloating of his power, she grabs his lightsaber and turns it towards his body and ignites it, piercing his chest, whispering that she loves him. Anakin looks at her, wide-eyed, as he looks down at the sapphire blue blade piercing his chest. He collapses to the ground, and Padme holds up her head, tears rolling down her face. Anakin grabs her cheek and caresses it, apologizing and wiping away her tears as his head falls back and the light leaves his eyes. Obi-Wan rushes out and puts his arm around Padme. He stares down at his fallen apprentice, lifeless on the ground, and tears begin to well up in his eyes. He failed him, letting the dark side take control over him. He blames himself, but he can't focus on that now. Sidious would have sensed Anakin's death through the Force and will be making his way there now. Obi-Wan helps Padme up, who's completely broken, and carries Anakin's body to their ship. They head to Polis Massa, where they meet with Bail Organa and Yoda, who just escaped his duel with Sidious. They discuss what to do next. There's no way they can get close to Sidious to challenge him again, so they have to bide their time. But Palpatine will be hunting for Padme, eager to get his hands on her child and train him as a Sith. She must go into hiding, out of Palpatine's reach. She decides the best place would be Tatooine, the planet where Anakin grew up. Even though he hated the planet, Padme wants Anakin to be buried by his mother. They have a small funeral for Anakin at the Lars farm, and Owen and Beru agree to let her stay with them. She gave birth to the twins in the quiet solitude of the desert, two innocent souls untouched by the darkness that consumed their father. Palpatine is furious about Anakin's death. His plans for the future of the Sith have been foiled. No longer can he pass the Sith Empire he created to his successor, Darth Vader. But there's still hope. Padme must be alive out there somewhere, and her child will have the same potential as her father. He must find her before it's too late. In the meantime, he contacts Darth Maul and offers for him to rejoin him by his side. Maul graciously accepts and becomes the leader of the Inquisitorius program. After dropping Padme off, Obi-Wan briefly meets with Yoda and Organa to plan ahead. Now with the twins, there is still hope for the Jedi Order. The children of Anakin Skywalker have the potential to be just as powerful as their father and could rival and surpass the Emperor. They plan to rebuild the Order, gather as many surviving Jedi as they can, and recoup. Obi-Wan explains how it will be impossible to conceal their presence from the Emperor, but Yoda has the perfect solution. They'll hide on Dagobah, a planet with an immense connection to the Force, but also a strong presence of the dark side that'll be able to mask out the light. Bail Organa will help with finding surviving Jedi and direct them to Dagobah, but will also slowly gain allies in the political setting and begin the Rebel Alliance. Years pass and a lot has changed. The Jedi Order has begun to rebuild, finding key surviving members: Oppo Rancisis, Caloran Beck, Coleman Kaj, Endo Cordova, Quinlan Voss, Cal Kestis, Caleb Doom, Ahsoka Tano, Gungi, Farron Bar, and many more. The Jedi Order has 23 members, many of which were powerful established Jedi Masters in the Old Temple. There was hope for the resurrection of the Order. The Masters were tasked with finding new Force-sensitive children to accept into the Order, as well as teach the current younglings and Padawans of the Order. They stay out of galactic affairs for the time being, leaving it all to Bail Organa, and focus on restoring the light side of the Force. Obi-Wan Kenobi remains on Tatooine. Padme refused for her children to be trained in the Force, seeing what it did to her husband. She carried on the moisture farming tradition, known as Padme Lars, and blended in with the crowd of sand-worn and sunburnt faces. Obi-Wan tried to convince her many times to allow the children to be trained, but she never faltered, until one day. There was an incident at their house when the children were 10 years old. Luke and Leia bickering, and Leia got so mad that she screamed and threw Luke flying back with the Force against the distant wall. Padme, not knowing what to do, called Obi-Wan for help. Obi-Wan explains how without guidance, they cannot control the Force within them. They will be susceptible to darkness and not know how to control their powers. Obi-Wan emphasizes the importance of Jedi training and helped Padme realize that it's the children's destiny to be trained as a Jedi, to change Anakin's legacy from one of darkness and destruction to liberation and peace. Padme knew she didn't have a choice and allowed Obi-Wan to take the twins to the Jedi Academy on Dagobah. Yoda decides it's important to keep the identity of the children a secret from the other Jedi to avoid unnecessary resentment, but also to keep Anakin's past as Vader a secret from the twins. Padme had told them stories of their father's greatness, but never mentioned his fall and turn to the dark side. Yoda didn't want to instill any desire for revenge against the Emperor in them. For the next 10 years, the Jedi Order continues to grow in secret, evading the Emperor and his ruthless Inquisitors. The Order has grown to 30 members, a mere shadow of what it once was, but nonetheless, not a force to be taken lightly. Luke and Leia were prodigies of the Force, their power surpassing most masters in the Order. The swamp of Dagobah became their training ground, honing their physical abilities, learning the art of lightsaber combat, and understanding the mysteries of the Force. They were taught the principles of the Jedi Order, of peace and justice, and the dangers of the dark side. Bail Organa stayed in close contact with Yoda and Obi-Wan, updating them on the movements of the Rebel Alliance. He's begged them to join the fight countless times, but Yoda has always refused, stating that the Force will show them when the time is right. We are now at the events of Rogue One. The Death Star plans are successfully stolen, and because Darth Vader is dead, the rebels escape with the plans unscathed. Organa contacts Yoda immediately, and tells the Grand Master they've discovered the Empire's super weapon and have a chance to destroy it. This was the moment Yoda was waiting for. The members of the Jedi Council, Yoda, Obi-Wan, Oppo Rancisis, Caloran Beck, and Endo Cordova meet with the leaders of the rebel movement who were shocked to see the Jedi Order alive and well. They discuss reports that Palpatine isn't currently on the Death Star, so need to find a way to lure him out. Obi-Wan comes up with an idea, to leak the location of the Jedi Order on Dagobah. Palpatine will know the information is true instantly, as he will realize it's the best hiding place for the Jedi Order. He won't be able to resist the chance to wipe them out once and for all. They dismiss and set the plan in motion. They use Jedi Knight Gungi to lure out the Inquisitors back to Dagobah, faking a message to the Council, as well as baiting them to put a tracking beacon on their ship. This is reported back to the Emperor himself, who sets the attack in motion. He sensed the Jedi were up to something in the last 10 years. It's been too quiet, and he knew they hadn't wiped them all out. The Imperial fleet arrives out of hyperspace, Emperor Palpatine leading the charge in the throne room of the Death Star. He's brought the entire Inquisitorius program, not taking any precautions. His apprentice, Darth Maul, sits next to him, eager to determine whether Kenobi is alive with the remnants of the Order. They advance on the planet, but Sidious senses something is wrong. He should be able to feel the presence of the Jedi Order, but he doesn't feel a thing until it hits him. The entire Rebel fleet comes out of hyperspace behind the Imperial fleet and catches them off guard. Many Imperial fleets are destroyed as the Rebel fleet advances. The Jedi are each situated in a single pod fighter and hold formation. They have the Death Star plans encoded in their ship, and only one of them needs to make it. They leave the Star Destroyers to the larger Rebel fleet, but have to deal with the TIE fighters. The Imperial fighters are no match for the Jedi, who run circles around them, shooting them down one by one. As the battle rages on, the Jedi pilots break off from the fleet, utilizing their mastery of the Force to guide them through the chaotic space. The Jedi fleet successfully make it to the Death Star trenches, dodging the fierce attacks from Death Star cannons and TIE fighters. Inside the Death Star, Palpatine senses their approach and understands the peril he faces. He orders his best pilots, and even Inquisitors, to stop the Jedi. Back in the trench, the Jedi are guided by the Force. Luke and Leia lead the charge, having inherited their piloting skills from their father. The other Jedi form a wall of defense around them, knowing they have the greatest likelihood of success in the twins. Out of nowhere, the Inquisitors enter the fray in their TIE Defenders, outclassing the other Imperial fighters, and they catch the Jedi off guard, focusing their fire on taking out a few and forcing the formation to crumble. The Inquisitors focus their attack on the Skywalker twins, as they can tell by the Jedi's formation that they're protecting those two fighters. Many Jedi give their lives in order to defend the Skywalkers from the Inquisitors' vicious bombardments. Palpatine runs for his escape craft, sensing the end is near, but he's too late. Luke and Leia lock onto the Death Star's weak point, guided by the Force, and release their proton torpedoes. The torpedoes arc away, disappearing into the Death Star's exhaust port. They scatter as a deafening explosion erupts, a shockwave extending from the heart of the Death Star, consuming Sidious and Maul. The Jedi fighters focus their attention on the less skilled Inquisitors and clean them up with ease. They join the Rebel fleet and capitalize on the chaos, decimating the remaining Imperial ships and winning the Battle of Dagobah. With the fall of the Empire, the Rebel Alliance's victory is met with joyous celebration across the galaxy. Democracy returns, and Bail Organa, alongside Mon Mothma, are elected as co-chancellors of the reinstated Republic. They address the entire galaxy in a broadcast from the ruins of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, once a symbol of oppression under the rule of the Empire, and now a beacon of hope. They pledge to restore the Republic to its former glory, to uphold democracy, and to respect the rights of every sentient being in the galaxy. Padme returns as Naboo senator and lives close to her children on Coruscant. The pain of Anakin's betrayal still haunts her. However, her children redeeming the Force has brought her immense joy. Together alongside the key members of the Senate, they work to undermine the empire Palpatine created. On Coruscant, the Jedi Temple undergoes a comprehensive restoration. The vast, once decaying structure is rejuvenated and serves as the headquarters of the newly reformed Jedi Order, with guidance from Yoda, Obi-Wan, and the surviving Jedi Masters. Luke and Leia take up the mantle of leading the Jedi Order into a new era. Luke and Leia, after learning of their father, vow to uphold his legacy, honoring the great Jedi he once was, and vowing to maintain the balance of the Force. A new generation of Jedi initiates start their training, guided by the lessons learned from the Order's past. The Jedi are not warriors, but are diplomats and peacekeepers, maintaining harmony within the galaxy. Yoda revealed the identity of the Skywalker children to the rest of the Order, who were shocked at first, but were content with the fact that the twins have successfully avenged Anakin's sins. As the Republic solidifies its power, the remnants of the Empire are gradually eradicated. Some worlds that were once under Imperial control resist the change, but the Republic's diplomatic approach, backed by the peacekeeping Jedi, ensures the restoration of peace and democracy. Slowly but surely, the galaxy begins to heal. Trade routes are re-established, interstellar travel becomes safer, and prosperity begins to return. With the Jedi Order's resurgence and the restoration of the Republic, hope is renewed. The galaxy, once shrouded in darkness, once again shines under the light of freedom and peace, and thus, the new chapter in galactic history marks the end of a time of darkness and the beginning of an era of light, a testament to the unyielding spirit of the galaxy and the enduring hope of its people. The galaxy finds itself guided by the principles of democracy, justice, and peace, upheld by the established Republic and resurgent Jedi Order. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, please consider supporting the channel and becoming a member for only $1 a month. I love chatting with my membership community, so please consider joining. Check out all the other videos on my channel, and I'll see you all next time.